Let's get into the papers now. Let's bring you what the papers are saying this morning. I'll start off with the Ghanaian Times. Front page says, President unveils a Jumara initiative to create 10,000 businesses annually. President unveils a Jumara initiative to create 10,000 businesses annually. Chip-embedded passport rolled out. Chip-embedded passport rolled out. Protesters hit Accra streets, demand end to Galamsey. Protesters hit Accra streets, demand end to Galamsey. Stop blame game, channel energies into business creation. Richard Nikwe challenges youth. He says, stop blame game, channel energies into business creation. This is Richard Nikwe challenging the youth. When you go to the back page, a number of stories there as well. Grab a copy of the Ghanaian Times and you can get the details there. All right, let's see what the Daily Graphic is saying today. Front page of the Daily Graphic also captures His Excellency, the President of the Republic, John Dramani Mahama there. And it says, a Jumara blast off. Program to create 20,000 decent jobs annually. A Jumara blast off. Program to create 20,000 decent jobs annually. Chip-embedded passports kick in. President Mahama, Akufo-Addo, take copies. Chip-embedded passports kick in. President Mahama and Akufo-Addo take copies. Boko feuding parties converge on Menshia for peace talks. Boko feuding parties converge on Menshia for peace talks. We know that as of yesterday, the factions in the ongoing Boko conflict arrived at the Menshia Palace at the behest of His Royal Majesty the Asantehene Otumfuo Seitu II. Mediation talks, we understand, will begin today. There's improved security to ensure a smooth discussion. Yesterday, we heard from a historian from the Menshia Palace, Safo Kantanka, giving us an idea of what is expected to happen when the peace talks begin. But what we know that is that the factions, the factions involved in the Boko conflict have converged on the Menshia Palace to begin the mediation process, which is led by, of course, His Royal Majesty the Asantehene Otumfuo Seitu II. All right, let's look at other stories on the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. July 1 declared National Day of Thanksgiving. July 1 declared National Day of Thanksgiving. Weak enforcement behind annual fiscal loss. UPSA Dean. And he lauds SML's role in plugging leakages. He says weak enforcement behind annual fiscal loss. When you go to the back page, a number of stories on there as well. On the back page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. Let's see what the Daily Guide is saying. What's the Daily Guide saying? OSP drags Charles Bissiou to court for corruption. OSP drags Charles Bissiou to court for corruption. And then, of course, there's a sad one that came in from the Ashanti region yesterday. The silver stool has lost its ruler. And so Daily Guide captures it here and says, Asante Mamponhene dead. As Dasibre Osei Bonsu is the late Asante Mamponhene, custodian of the silver stool. He has passed on after a short illness. I understand he passed on somewhere last week. Yesterday, the Bretio family or the Bretio clan of Asante Mampong did, as tradition demands, go to the Menshia Palace to officially notify and, of course, bring to the attention of the Asantehene Otumfuo Seitu of the passing of the Mamponghene Dasibre Osei Bonsu. Okay, so quite a sad one. Kumase will be black. Asante Mampong will be black from now on as we await arrangements for the interment and the funeral rites of the late Mamponghene. May his soul rest in perfect peace. Let's bring you some other stories on the front page of the Daily Guide. This one says, history will be kind to Nana. That's the former vice president and the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party for the 2024 general elections. His Excellency Dr. Bawumia speaking there. and he says history will be kind to Nana. Then you have the Richard Niamakwe story also here. It says, let's invest together for economic growth. Amakwe to youth. All right, that's it for the Daily Guide newspaper. Let's see what's happening in the Chronicle. Front page of the Chronicle says, OSP files bribery charges against Charles Bissiou. OSP files bribery charges against Charles Bissiou. Ghanaians should forgive NPP. That's Dr. Bawumia speaking. Ghanaians should forgive NPP. That's Dr. Bawumia speaking there. Ghana rolls out chip-embedded passport. I'm reading from the front page of the Chronicle newspaper now. It says Ghana rolls out chip-embedded passport. Ghana rolls out chip-embedded passport. A Jumara program is not a fanfare. This is President Mahama speaking. A Jumara program is not a fanfare. President Mahama speaking. Clinical psychologist in court over alleged $70,000 forex fraud. Clinical psychologist in court over alleged $70,000 forex fraud. And then we'll take our memory verse for the day from the Chronicle. It says 1 Samuel 8:3. The book of 1 Samuel, the chapter 8, the verse number 3. But they were not like their father, for they were greedy for money. They accepted bribes and perverted justice. I read it again. 1 Samuel 8:3. But they were not like their father, for they were greedy for money. They accepted bribes and perverted justice. May the Lord add his blessings to the reading of his word. All right, let's check out the Daybreak newspaper, which says, shake up in Gulf. Okay, shake up in Gulf. That's the Ghana Armed Forces. Comes with a few pictures of some army generals. And it says, shake up in Gulf. NEIP spearheads a Jumara program. NEIP spearheads a Jumara program to empower 10,000 youth entrepreneurs annually. NEIP spearheads a Jumara program to empower 10,000 youth entrepreneurs annually. We had a solid record of achievement, but not everything went right. That's Dr. Bawumia speaking. We had a solid record of achievements, but not everything went right. CDS hosts 2-star generals in valedictory meeting. CDS hosts 2-star generals in valedictory meeting. Let common sense prevail. Julius Deborah to appointees. Let common sense prevail. That's the Chief of Staff, Julius Deborah, speaking to appointees of the Mahama government. The New Republic. Let's check out the New Republic. Bissiou's saga escalates. OSP hits him with 15 criminal charges. Bissiou's saga escalates. OSP hits him with 15 criminal charges. Vice President opens Mental Health Awareness Month. Vice President opens Mental Health Awareness Month. STC turmoil. Assets mismanaged and official vehicles sold off. Akomia and deputies accused of taking STC's official vehicles. And then this one says, Mahama Ejumera policy ignites youth entrepreneurship. 10,000 youth-owned businesses to be created annually. Mahama Ejumera policy ignites youth entrepreneurship. 10,000 youth-owned businesses to be created annually. That's the New Republic. And then when you go to the Economy Times says, Ghana's growth projection revised as World Bank IMF re-evaluate global economy. Ghana's growth projection revised as World Bank IMF re-evaluate global economy. Fitch predicts minimal impact of U.S. tariffs on Ghana as IMF pushes for economic reforms. Fitch predicts minimal impact of U.S. tariffs on Ghana as IMF pushes for economic reforms. Cryptocurrency trading regulatory framework began to emerge. Cryptocurrency trading regulatory framework began to emerge. So that's the front page of the Economy Times. Grab a copy and you can get the details. Now I want to take you online briefly. We'll start off with the ChannelOneNews.com. When I go to ChannelOneNews.com, they are leading with the mediation process. Story says Otumfuo to begin mediation today as Boko factions arrive in Kumasi. Otumfuo to begin mediation today as Boko factions arrive in Kumasi. Now the CEO of the Petroleum Hub, Dr. Anthony Obeng, sat with Bernard Avle last night on The Point of View here on Channel One TV. A number of stories came out of that interview, and so I'll bring you some highlights of those as well as captured on ChannelOneNews.com. Damai Mine, Tony Obeng backs government Goldfields transitional deal. Damai Mine, Tony Obeng backs government Goldfields transitional deal. Okay. Also, there was a demonstration seeking or calling for an end to illegal mining, commonly referred to as galamsey. And story is captured here. It says, Generational Rights Group extends anti-galamsey protest by 2 days. Generational Rights Group extends anti-galamsey protest by 2 days. Politicians' involvement undermining galamsey fight. Again, Tony Obeng speaking there. Captured from that interview on The Point of View with Bernard Avle last night. Politicians' involvement undermining galamsey fight. That's Tony Obeng. 4 months too short to judge Mahama's galamsey fight. Again, Tony Obeng speaking there. 4 months too short to judge Mahama's galamsey fight. Use appropriate forum to voice your concerns. Ahiagba tells Boache Ejako. He says, use appropriate forum to voice your concerns. Ahiagba tells Boache Ejako. Richard Ahiagba is the Director of Communications of the New Patriotic Party. He sat with Vivian Kai Loko on the Channel One newsroom last night. A number of stories from that interview as well. We'll be bringing you highlights of it. Perennial flooding. Traders urge swift completion of dredging of Odo River. Perennial flooding. Traders urge swift completion of dredging of Odo River. Mahama exploiting legal loophole to target Chief Justice. This is Richard Ahiagba speaking again, as I mentioned earlier, from that interview on the Channel One newsroom last night. Mahama exploiting legal loophole to target Chief Justice. PPP, that's the Progressive People's Party. PPP backs Chief Justice suspension, calls for accountability and due process. PPP backs Chief Justice suspension, calls for accountability and due process. Thank you, Tor. Focus on internal unity. Dr. Asa Asante to the NPP. He's a political analyst, and he's calling on the NPP to focus on its internal unity, saying that the thank you tour will have little to no impact if the party does not resolve its own internal bickerings. All right, so that's Dr. Asa Asante there. Now, thank you tour controversies are normal. This is Miracles Abronye. He was spokesperson for the Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia campaign team in the lead up and, of course, during the 2024 general elections. And he's saying that thank you tour controversies are normal. And when we go to Kumasi, High Court dismisses NDC's election petition on 3 parliamentary results. High Court dismisses NDC's election petition on 3 parliamentary results. Then you have a Jumara program fully funded. A Jumara program fully funded. That's President Mahama speaking there. All right, let's go see what's happening with citynewsroom.com. www.citynewsroom.com. Again, they have stories from that interview with Bernard Avle on The Point of View. Tony Obeng speaking, and he says Galamsey LI 2462 must be completely repealed. LI 2462 must be completely repealed. That's Dr. Anthony Obing speaking there. Anti-Galamsey protesters project environmental devastation onto Jubilee House. Anti-Galamsey protesters project environmental devastation onto Jubilee House. In education, there was a visit by the Education Committee of Parliament to the Accra Academy yesterday, and the story says only 22 staff overseeing 5,000 students. Headmaster reviews. So this is at Accra Academy Senior High. Okay, story says only 22 staff overseeing 5,000 students. Headmaster reviews. Then we'll go back to that interview on the point of view. Tony Obeng again speaking here. It says politicians' involvement makes Galamsey fight difficult. We have established that on this show over and over again. Tony Obeng is rehashing or re-emphasizing the same point, saying that politicians' involvement makes Galamsey fight difficult. Thank you, Tar. Bawumia speaking from collective standpoint. Richard Ahiagba, Director of Communications for the New Patriotic Party, NPP, speaking here. Admit your failures and stop shifting blames. Asa Asante to Bawumia. Admit your failures and stop shifting blames. Asa Asante to Bawumia. When we go to the telco sector, it says 5,700 customers affected by data breach. MTN Ghana confirms. 5,700 customers affected by data breach. This is troubling. We need to get to the bottom of it, find out what happened, what the challenges were, and what measures have been instituted to prevent a future occurrence. But as it is, MTN is saying that 5,700 customers have been affected by data breach. All right, let's move on. Matilda Asante Asiedu appointed second deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana. Matilda Asante Asiedu appointed second deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana. You can get details of this story and several others on our website, ChannelOneNews.com, as well as CityNewsroom.com. All the 411 is there, all the details on these portals. I am Nana Tufo Boateng. You're watching Breakfast Daily here on Channel One TV. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Hello again. Grateful that you stayed on with us. This is Breakfast Daily here on Channel One TV. It's time to get talking, to discuss or have a conversation about the various topics that have made it to the front pages of the various dailies. We've picked a number of them, and then we'll be delving into them. Remember that the show is interactive. We'd like to hear from you. Send us your thoughts, your comments, your contributions via our socials, and of course on the WhatsApp number on your screens. Let us know what you think about the various submissions and of course the conversations that we will be having. Okay, let me quickly say hi or good morning to my guest. We have the Honorable Fred Agbenyo, Member of Parliament for the good people of Guan, in studio with us. Good morning, boss.
My brother, good morning.
Good to have you.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
First time having you here.
With you.
Yes,
That's true.
Yes. And of course, Larry Dogbe, he's the managing editor of the Herald newspaper. Good morning, boss.
Good morning.
He's a big man, eh?
Big man.
Hey.
He's a strong man too.
Oh, so Larry.
Boss, is it you are surprised?
No, is it my surprise? Is the fact that you're hiding it from me?
He's my brother. At least trust me for once.
Good stuff. Good to have you, gentlemen. Let's get straight into it. We're expecting a third guest, but he should be here any moment from now, but we're starting from his camp, actually. And so the New Patriotic Party, the NPP, led by, of course, its 2024 flag bearer for the elections, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, is on a thank you tour. They visited a number of regions already. A lot has been said, and there's been reactions. It's not the first time we are hearing or seeing a thank you tour. I mean, the various parties do it after major elections. But this time, it's as though it's creating a lot of controversies regarding the statements that have been made during the tour. I'll start with you, Fred. A stalwart of the NPP, for example, Boakye Jakon, thinks that the thank you tour has lost its originality or what it was really intended to do and might lead to the party imploding. I don't know what your thoughts are about this particular thank you tour and some of the things that have been said.
Well, thank you very much. Let me say good morning to our viewers and my brother, the big and a rich man, and a very self.
Where is this from?
Let me extend my greetings also to the people of the Republic of SAR. I'm a little bit under the weather, so just bear with me.
Sure.
I don't know what is hovering around the atmosphere, so just bear with me. I don't know. Ordinarily, I would have said, Mami Dimi Fiasem, so the MPP to keep their own case to themselves. Yeah. But to the extent that as a public institution, all of us have an interest in it.
Exactly.
I believe in multi-party democracy, and so I'm interested in seeing other political parties doing well and position themselves to be able to govern as and when the people of this country decide to give them the mandate. And that is to that extent that I want to comment on what is happening in MPP today. You see, I have served our party all the way to the national level, and so I understand what happens when you go for an elections and you lose an elections and you come out of the elections and you really want to come back to us as a political party. There's a way you are expected to go about things. Now, you set up a committee to do what you are calling fact-finding. I have an issue. The person you place as the head of that committee himself was very deep in the entire controversy, right from Parliament, to the extent that for the first time in our history, in the Fourth Republic, you had a situation where the president's nominee for the speakership of Parliament was voted against. His own people also contributed to it. So if your MPs, you are not popular with your MPs didn't accept you, that alone should give some signal to the president, no. And so how do you now go and set up a committee to go into fact-finding, and this person now is the chair of that committee?
His stature within the party. He's quite revered within the MPP.
The stature was bruised.
I think you have used the right expression.
It was bruised.
You know, he lost it. He lost the stature that he had after the 2020 elections, because he was the Speaker of Parliament then. And we also what happened before, after 2020, right?
Yeah.
And so how can we say because of his stature in the party? He has also contested the flag bearer before, if you remember.
Yeah.
Far back in 2017.
Yeah.
2007.
Yeah.
That primaries at Legon, he was part of it. So he has his own camp. He has people who like him and those who don't like him. He became a speaker. If what his colleagues or the MPs at his side did at the time to go by, you can't then conclude that, hey, it's not very well accepted even within that enclave. Now, he was a former MP for Dominic Kwabenya. His son contested in that elections. He even had comments made by Adjoa Safo in Kenya, Japan. At a point, he was appealing to Ken to help the son win the elections. But my business mother is in the race. Actually, my business mother come and support your son. We heard all these things, right? And so when the elections are over now, you make a person like this the chair of the committee, you are starting on the wrong footing. People cannot trust the person in charge. You can say that there are other people, but he is the head. So whatever reports he brings, people will be looking at the report with some skepticism, like real. Can he really put the facts? Because he was really involved in the entire campaign. He was consulted in everything that they did. So how can you be your own judge in your own court and expect to be able to put out a credible report that people can trust? That aside, whichever way you have brought the report, the first thing you do as a political party is to sit in-house, leadership. Try to resolve whatever issues you have among yourselves. A few people contested for the flag bearership, including Kennedy Japan, Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia. And those who contested and they left the scene for these two to continue. Some people even left the party, some people were sacked from the party. And so the first thing you should have done is to sit down in the office there, okay, call Bawumia, call Kennedy, call Ata Kennedy, call Ajaku, call all those big guys, including the former chairman that you forcefully push out of the party. What's his name?
Afoko.
Paul Afoko. And the second vice chair, what's his name? Sami Krab and all these guys. Sit them down. You manage, because they are the kingpins, they are the big boys. They are the people of the following. So you mind them in a room. When you have generally resolved that issue indoor, now you can move out there and say you are going to embark on a thank you talk. I watch and I ask myself, is this in a thank you talk or an interaction with your party faithfuls? When I go for the elections and I win the election, I don't limit my thank you talk to my party executives. I'm going to thank the entire constituency, the chiefs and everybody. But what I see so far, that's if they are interacting. Eric, good to see you. Welcome.
After he's finished punching you.
I was listening to him.
Oh, but you know, has to be friendly fire. Yeah, I've not said anything. Friendly fire, you know.
Yeah.
And so, you ask yourself, how on earth, if the people who said they are going to do a thank you talk, they've not been able to resolve their issues in-house, and you move out there, how are you able to reconcile the people you are going to meet? And so, right in front of the people on the platform, people are throwing salvos at each other. How does it help? So, you are deepening the holes, rather. And so, they should cease what they are doing. In fact, it is not a thank you talk. What they intend to do, you see, Bawumia is not getting it. I advised him before the 2024 elections that Alhaji Bawumia exit with Nana Rodakwa Akufo-Addo. Go and stay somewhere. You can go and do some consultancy, some lectureship, whatever you want to do with yourself. Let 1 term pass, let 2 term pass, come back. By which time, Ghanaians would have forgotten, you know, most of the things that you did. Because before the 2024 election,
be growing, oh.
what's that? You need credibility. Okay, you need credibility to win an elections. Nanado has shown us that even at 74, 75, you can win an election. Bawumia is barely, is it 60, even 60 years? You don't even have 60 years.
No.
He's on 60.
No, I doubt Bawumia is 60. He's not
He's on
60.
60.
Yes.
He was 60?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's barely 60. But all of us agree. I'm 49. Eric, my junior brother.
48.
Well, let's say good morning to Eric Chum. Eric Chum is a member of the MPP.
So let me just
Good to have
land
you.
and allow Eric to talk about the issue. And I watch Abronye and I watch Kennedy Ajapon.
Is it true that 2 of them were fighting?
I do not know.
Oh, about
I hear the video is there.
No, the video is there. I've seen
Have
the
you
video.
seen
Look,
it?
yeah, I've seen the video.
Yeah, people have seen it. I haven't seen
I have
it.
seen the
But
video.
I have
seen
heard about it.
Okay.
You know,
But
it's-
maybe if your producers have, they might want to show it to us so that we all see.
I haven't seen it. And
Talk
I
to your
don't think
producer.
they
No,
have.
it's
Talk to
not
your
about
producer.
you. It's your
Yeah.
producers.
you don't want to show it.
They are listening. If they have it, they will show it.
You see, and so I don't think that what is going on now is proper. You see, and already the fashions are becoming too clear. What is Dr. Bawumia say on the talk? He goes somewhere to go and say, okay, blame Nana Akufo-Addo for our problems. The next day he goes back and say, well, posterity will judge Nana. What is he saying?
He says
At one point-
history will be kind to Nana.
No, so you the same person have admitted on the same platform that you know what? The man contributed to our defeat based on his policies and the things that he did. The arrogance of power that was exhibited and everything. The fact that he couldn't call people to order. He sat on a watch. The investment that they did in the so-called cathedral, $58 million down the drain. I don't know what we are going to do with that thing today. I don't know how we are going to get that project completed. My advice really on this show this morning to President Mahama, let's get some investors. Let's convert that whole place into some beautiful apartments for workers. You know, the rich hospital has staff, they can stay in there. People working the ministries can stay in there. You know, the place already very choked. And the traffic that we have in town, that is the only thing we can turn that place into. Because for me, I've been interested from the word go. So how do you go and put a cathedral in that space when the place is already very choked? You have Accra Sports Stadium in there. You have Parliament over there. You have
AICC.
and all these institutions. What such interventions does that? They open up the country. What would have been wrong if you take that into a breeze somewhere? You take that into Sogankope Road somewhere. The city, new city will emerge.
Exactly.
Well planned. But it's as if, I don't know. So, Bawumia now admits that some of these things contributed to their defeat.
Very well.
Now, the same person that came about to tell us that, you know what? Oh, he should be very kind to Akufo-Addo. What is he saying? All right? He must take responsibility because he dented his personal image as a candidate. Go on the internet and Google Alhaji Bawumia. You see, everything is driven by perception. The perception out there is that he doesn't speak the truth. The perception out there is that he's always, and go and check. I can list over 1,000 issues.
Very well.
And so for me, he needs to do proper assessment. And I can tell you, I'm not a prophet of doom. The person leading NPP 2028 elections is none other but Kennedy Ajapon and not Alhaji Bawumia. Mark it on the wall.
Granted. Larry,
Yeah.
you want me to go to Eric before I come to you? Since
sure.
it's his party that's on the tour. Okay. Well, Eric, I mean, this thank you tour is not new. We've seen same over the period. All parties do this. But what is striking about this particular one is as though the report that was not made public, the content of same is being made public by Dr. Bawumia and is generating a lot of reactions, including even from the likes of Boachi Jaku, who think that the thank you tour is becoming more of a platform to throw jabs at each other. From your own observation, what do you think?
For me, I think that it's much ado about nothing. It's a thank you tour. It's a political party. This is not the first time that a candidate has gone into an election, lost the election, and decided to go around the country to, one, show appreciation to the party rank and file, and also all the people who actually contributed to the campaign. The tour was actually meant to have happened much earlier, but then in the wisdom of the campaign, which I was a very key member of the campaign, said that because the party had actually commissioned a committee to look into the post-election, to do a post-mortem, it was thought wise for us to postpone until that report comes out. And then the party now has taken center stage in terms of making sure that this thank you tour happens. In a political party, you know, we don't really extend formal invitations like that. I mean, you, Fred, you have done this thing for a very long time. You know this. And you know what is actually very interesting, even with the commentary coming from Fred. On the 9th of December 2016, I was sitting on Metro TV with Fred. Fred, you remember?
I do.
When we were refusing to concede.
Oh.
So me and Fred, we go, I'm talking about 9th December 2016. You understand what I'm saying? And this whole conversation around an administration that everybody thought was never going to come back, and the issues to do with Doomsday and all the crises and challenges that we had, and I mean, at that particular moment, that was the monumental loss in terms of percentages, and even how much an incumbent government lost by, right? I mean, 8 years down the line, the NDC has won an election again. You know, so it's quite interesting that Fred is sitting here, actually becoming a prophet of doom and saying all sorts of things. I'll tell you. Listen, I'll tell you. It does not matter what people say, what people do. Dr. Bawumia will be the next flag bearer of the MPP. You can't change that. Now, I've seen persons, I mean, even within our own, trying so hard to create a certain perception that something untoward is being done to benefit or to the advantage of the candidate who took us to the election. In any case, the guy was the flag bearer. And so if you're going around the country to do a thank you tour, it makes sense to make sure that he actually headlines it. It doesn't change anything. We haven't even gone into our internal elections yet. All these people that we are talking to, who are polling station executives, constituency executives, regional executives, electoral area coordinators, national executives, it might happen that by the time we even go into the next primaries, they will not be at post. Because we have to go through an internal election process. So when people get overly excited and start doing all of these things, then we are actually giving cannon fodder to our opponents like Fred.
But would you admit that it still gives him an avenue to market himself?
No, but what is the avenue? A political party, which you are a member of, and some of these persons are very, I mean, big, I mean, if you like, leading members of the party. Nobody will turn you away if you turn up at a thank you tour. I was part of the campaign. I'm not there. I decided that I want to stay back, and because this is also important. However, I'll be in my region. I'll be in Eastern region. By the time the thank you tour gets there, right? So, I mean, sometimes I think that we overstretch some of these things and make it look like there's something untoward happening and all of those things. I've even had persons who I don't even know where they came from. You understand? So
Like
all of
who?
a sudden, I don't want to mention it. I don't want to get into it. I don't want to be part of those.
Yeah.
Listen, people. But that's just what I'm saying.
If there are people that you don't know where they are coming from.
When you see,
you
like
are-
I sat here
Yeah.
and I told you that in 2016, right?
Yeah.
I was sitting on a national platform, Metro TV with Fred. Some of these people who are now claiming that Dr. Bawumia has done this and that, they were nowhere to be found. They are who they are today as a result of convenience. And nobody's going after them. So all I'm saying is that,
I know about Jaco.
listen, I'm not talking about Jaco. I'm saying that.
Oh, I'm only asking.
No,
a question.
because the
saying-
Jaco is the one.
I'm not saying,
Well,
I'm not talking about
Let's have
Jaco,
him. Let's have him.
Right.
land.
All I'm saying is that Dr. Bawumia was a candidate in 2024. Unfortunately, we lost the elections. The party has decided. I'm talking about the party. And you see, he cannot go and force the party to go through this particular process. You have a national council, where in national council you have former President Kufuor, former President Akufo-Addo, he himself, former national executives, former general secretaries, former national chairman, and all of that, council of elders, making a decision. And you're sitting somewhere saying that this group of persons
He's
done,
no longer flag bearer.
No, but it doesn't.
So it doesn't make him leader of the party.
But he's not.
Could the
he's
party
not
leadership have
carrying-
led
He's not
this
carrying
thank you
himself
talk?
as a leader. What he's done
He's trying
is
to
that
launch his
he's
campaign.
going into these various constituencies and regions to say that, yes, I was the lead. And you see, when you're trying to be disingenuous, then you can take some of the things that he's saying out of context. Everything that he has said, he said, we. What does we mean? We means that he's actually acknowledging that he was part of the government. He was the vice
He's taking
president.
responsibility for
and he's
what
taking
happened.
responsibility. But if you have a certain, if you like, ulterior motive, or you try to create, it's like the Agama lizard thing. Oh, now Bawumia is going on a tour. Certain persons are unhappy. And so let's find a way of making him unpopular and make it difficult for him. For me, I think that this morning, we shouldn't be discussing these things. You understand what I'm saying? Honestly, I don't think it's a big deal. All that is happening is that you're going to go through the processes. Even this issues to do with the report. The report, of course, is not known to all of us. I haven't seen the report. However, he's making claim to certain things that even the people themselves have actually articulated, right? So there are things that were, if you like, external, that had nothing to do with the internal party architecture. But there are also things that were very profound, like internal bickering, like people being disgruntled, like the inertia, like issues to do with apathy and all of that. And he's talking about all of these things. And he's using we, and still people have a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? And we've gotten to the point
think we
where...
should cut him some slack?
Of course. I mean, but we would meet those people. I'm being very... I'm passionate about it. We'll meet those people, boot for boot. Nobody has what do you call it? Authority over anybody.
Is
You
there a
understand?
plan to sit with all these persons and iron out
But
the issues?
there's no issue. The issue is that we've gone into an election. People who have found their right now were also culpable. They're also a part of the reasons why we are in a position
People think
today.
there's an undue advantage. Say
To
the
who?
report per se, for one, it's not been made public. Others have not seen it. But he's speaking to issues that are most likely in that report. So then it gives the perception or the impression that he has.
But he has
seen it.
You know, I'm objective, right? As far as I'm concerned, what's the point of a report, right? The point of a report is that the persons, the key protagonists, stakeholders within the party should have access to it. But it's not an external doc. It shouldn't come to you.
Right.
Right? But if somebody was a presidential aspirant, a member of parliament, a national executive, what have you, a council of elder patron, and all of those things, I believe strongly that this person should have access to the report. Otherwise,
the member of parliament from
Yeah, but
Paris says he hasn't seen the report.
yeah, but that's just what I'm saying. That I'm not one of those people who, you understand. I believe it makes sense that people within the party who are key stakeholders will have an appreciation of what the report is.
Yeah.
Because it follows a certain logical process whereby you've done the study, you have the issues, the party is calling for constitutional people to make proposals for constitutional amendments and all of that. So it has to be based on a certain source document, but it is not an external.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So I also agree with the National Executive to make sure that it is a document that stays within a certain confines of the political party. But people within the party should have access to it.
Very well. Larry.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tor.
Yeah, thank you, Tor. First of all, I think that it is necessary that the party, as in the opposition party, tours the country and then, engage with its supporters. It's good. What that does is that it gets people to also see whether or not the party is still vibrant on the ground. And then there's also, exchange of information. And also, let's say, blame game. You blame me, I blame you. Or you blame me and then I explain my side of the story. So it's good for the party. And this is not the first time that, political parties are doing this. After the 2000 election, when NDC was defeated, I think the party did a thank you tour. And then there was a thank you tour, and then later on there was something else. That was, there was also an investigation as to what led to the party's defeat. And it was led by Dr. Obed Asamoah. Okay. And then after President Kufuor left office, I think whoever contested, I think Akufo-Addo also went round thanking people for voting. The same way President Mahama, after his defeat in 2016, also went round the country. So it's good. With all the inhibitions of office absent now, people can freely engage because they are not expecting anything from you. You are in opposition, you can't grant any jobs or any other things. So people can freely talk to you in a manner that they deem right. Okay, and then you could also, based on certain factors available, explain yourself to them. So it's good. Now, but what is coming up now is the fact that Dr. Bawumia is supposedly stoking a certain fire, as some of your party people would want us to believe that he's stoking fire. But for me, I think that Dr. Bawumia has always spoken his mind, particularly when it comes to the governance of this thing. Fred, you recalled his, I think, inaugural address or something of a sort at UPSA, when he listed certain things that, he was going to do when he takes over. Okay. Including exactly. The people were like, but you were part of the thing. Why are you saying that you're going to scrap it? And he talked about unemployment at the time also. And then people were like, you are the vice president. Why are you now talking about, that? Then he did the famous Mervyn Pick. Exactly. And also listed a whole, lot of things that he was going to do. The fight against corruption, that he was going to intensify it, and so many other things that he mentioned at the time. And in both instances, I think the party elements took him on, including key Akufo-Addo, supporters, took him on, and took him to the cleaners. And the same moment, the next moment, we had some of these people sitting on platforms with him, campaigning for him to lead the party.
Well, we agree to disagree, so.
Well, but that tells me that there was something really, really wrong.
No, sorry.
But I allowed you to talk. You didn't allow me.
You see, when I come on a program with you two, then you guys make me a bit, anyway, that's fine.
A bit excited?
No, because then I can't,
Just listen
I can't.
We're just it's good for you.
I can't be a bad boy.
So we don't know you to be like that, so let's keep it that way.
He's the only macho man on the table. So clearly you could get the idea that there was something practically wrong. There's a disconnect, even at the Jubilee House. Okay? But I recall Dr. Bawumia, he stayed away from the from discussions on the haircut. Today, he's citing it as one of the reasons why the party lost. He stayed away from the construction, from the e-levy. He's citing it.
But for e-levy, I think it's public knowledge that he was against it.
Yeah, he was totally against it.
Yeah.
I think months before the passage, he had gone to Peace FM and, spoke against it.
Yeah.
Okay? Then the construction of the National Cathedral. That one also, he stayed away, he stayed away from it. And, I mean, we can give...
So what does this tell you? That there was some level of disconnect?
Oh, yeah, it was obvious. I mean, other stories we have heard was to the effect that it was Ken Oforiatta alone who was running the economy. And he will attest to it. I mean, he's been mentioning how objective he is, anytime we sit on this program. If he's candid, he will tell you that the economic management team collapsed long before they went in for the election.
That's very true.
It collapsed to a point where Osafo Mafo, Dr. Bawumia, and then Governor Adesing and many others will have meetings at the Jubilee House, summoned by Dr. Bawumia, that Ken wouldn't attend.
I remember the 40-member team that was put in place. Economic Vice was not part of the team.
Okay.
And frankly, Kujo and the rest were part of that team.
Do you get it? So, I mean, there was total disconnect. They managed to, present a phase of, a semblance of, unity. But clearly there was. I mean, we can also cite this instance of the MPs, how many MPs who came together to say that, listen, the president should sack.
88 or 89.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, there are things that I have heard, fights and so on, where there was a claim, there were allegations, let me put it that way, that, anyway.
Let's move on.
There was a claim about Dr. Bawumia's qualification versus an investment banker who was managing the economy. I'm sure you would have heard this thing. That, I mean, who is better placed, to lead the economy between Dr. Bawumia and Ken Oforiatta, an investment banker, what people call professional cha-cha player. Okay? So that was there. It was an argument they tried to polish up, to a large extent and present a phase of, unity. However, deep down, there were gaping cracks, gaping holes. People, heads couldn't meet. And I think that there was also another instance where Dr. Bawumia talked about how they needed to close their ranks more and more to execute the election. You remember that? To a point where he started talking, most of the policies that he mentioned, then one journalist asked him, if you knew all this, why don't you implement it now? And then his response was that...
If he does everything today, what will he do tomorrow?
Thank you. Jesus Christ. You get it? Yeah. That is self-indicting. Does it mean nobody was listening to him? I mean, the family and friends, that became the issue of the election. You had cousins, daughters receiving contracts, nephews receiving contracts, nieces swallowing what, and millions of dollars. The corruption that took over that engulfed the party. Some of those things, I'm told, they are part of the Michael Kwe report that they are trying to, hide, but then they speak to it in private. I think that they know what led to their defeat. They know, I mean, you can't take money from pensioners. Some of them who had saved, throughout their lives. For their retirement. Do you know the number of people who died out of that? People whose medical bills were on that. People whose school fees were on that. Sure. I mean, grandparents, after all that they have earned, sometimes they want to be seen paying school fees for
their grandchildren.
For their grandchildren. Picking them from schools. Do you understand? Yeah. And then that is how they keep themselves active. And at that point, you are somebody else. Today we are vibrant, but I mean, there's a transition. There's a state of mind when you get to. You just want to, be of good, will to people. But then your source of power, that's your economic power, is taken away from you. You can't pay your medical bills, you can't pay your utility bills, you can't buy fuel into your car and other things. All those things taken away. And to an extent that you had a president who said that, listen, and he made bold statement. There wouldn't be any haircut. The next morning, then it happened.
The Baba was ready.
The Baba, yes. And Baba who, you know, they were using broken bottles to share people. You get it. That is where we got to.
Well,
they just need to admit some of these things. As for what I'm coming. As for Boache Jaku saying
briefly
that
on him.
There was going to be an implosion. But I think that is informed by the fact that he's still interested in the.
Of course.
He's still interested in there. And there's this view that, people who are going around, or Dr. Bawumia is using this thing as
to market himself.
For the next stage. Ken Japan is also in there, also trying to market himself as well. But I mean, whether implosion or not, listen, if the thing is dirty, let's wash it.
Yeah.
Do you understand? For me, Chum, see, you guys, there was a reason why you had whether you had 39 or 40 something, whatever. You guys should just face the people and tell them that, guys, listen, we went into an election with this expectation. We are sorry we couldn't make the numbers. We couldn't make the numbers because of A, B, C, D, and so on. We are sorry. Now, the MPP would have to re-engineer itself. And by so doing, you don't rush when they pick up people to come and, attest to their stewardship. Then you bash people to go there and say that, listen, penny, when you touch one, you touch all. So and so and so. When the man was stealing the money, was he stealing with you in mind?
Meanwhile, you're hungry.
Meanwhile, you're hungry.
Very well. Let me bring Eric in.
I mean, let's
thank you, Larry.
But I'm to the new party is coming up. Dr. Amakoba.
That is how you can clean up your image. Issue a statement.
Thank you, Larry.
Just 1 minute. Allow me. Just let the people, say that as soon as the person is speaking, say that, listen, guys, hey, put him through whatever due process there are.
Prepare a legal team to go support him.
No, you don't have to. Let him go and pick his own legal team and pay for whatever it is because he's made money.
Right.
Okay? So let the guy go, but make sure that he's being taken through due process. Based on rule of law. Anything short of that, then you can complain. But then say that, listen, yempini, when you touch one, you touch all. Charlie, you are, excuse my word, you are being stupid. When you follow that kind of, arrangement.
Like, okay. Eric, you want to come in here?
I
know, but let's hear from him.
We're happy him to
my focus here is the sort of the misinformation, right? You see?
Okay, let's help the
misinformation.
No, let me just it's a bit of almost like in one breath, you're supposed to be part of a government. And there's this principle of collective responsibility that you are part of. That does not take away from your independence of mind and also even how to prefer opinions and all of that. Now, in any environment that is governed by the tenets of democracy, whatever, you sit in a room and the majority of people want to go a certain direction. You still express and prefer those opinions and views, right? But the majority will carry. It doesn't mean that you are not part of it. You have accepted to be part of a group. So there's a whole concept of collective responsibility. You go to cabinet, you swear an oath and all of those things. And so those are basic principles. However, if you're given an opportunity to present your vision and you want to lead the country, there's absolutely nothing wrong in preferring those views that you hold. Do you understand? That does not mean that there's a clear or that does not mean that you're throwing your former boss under the bus or because otherwise then you can't have we are not ducks and ducklings whereby especially in an environment like a political party, everybody's supposed to toe a certain. I mean, I don't believe in that principle. You understand what I'm saying? Because the beauty of a political party is having people with divergent views coming from different areas with different orientation and everything. And forming a political party that has a certain semblance of direction, like a purpose.
Is there disunity in the party?
There's no disunity. I mean, I don't see the disunity. The people who want to see the disunity are probably the ones who are actually orchestrating
Show
that.
the Abronye.
There
Show
is
the
no
Abronye video.
There is.
I've not seen that. I don't know
Your
which video.
producers.
They don't have it. If they had, they would have alerted.
I hear Richard Sky hosted it yesterday, so it's on his on his.
I don't
Facebook.
see.
That's Sky's Facebook.
I don't see.
Not ChannelOne Facebook.
I don't see.
You can pick it from there.
I don't see the
Eric,
disunity.
please go ahead.
You understand? And I don't also want to sit on this platform and even make the matters worse. Because some of the people who are now shouting are people that I have had personal problems with. Okay. And even this thing that they are doing is not based on principle. Do you understand? You remember this, there's this call for amnesty for certain persons and all of those things. Some of these people who are now writing letters and everything are the architects behind the suspension of some of these people. And all of a sudden, I'm just saying, I'm not mentioning it. I'm just saying that. So when today, all of a sudden, they found their voices. And now, just because an individual, now it's because of that Dr. Bawumia is going on a decade tour, everybody is now overly excited and saying that there's something untoward happening. There's something untoward.
Thank you tour or a Dr. Bawumia thank you tour?
It says an MPP thank you tour. However, it makes sense that the person who led
the party
into the election would be there. The party has extended invitations to all aspirants, right?
In the spirit of unity.
In the spirit of unity. And then the party is going from one region to the other. So if in any case, it doesn't even, for me, as far as I'm concerned, this whole train where everybody moves from one place to the other, probably is not even the best way to do it. But if the flag bearer is coming to your region or your constituency or somewhere that you have an interest in, there's absolutely nothing wrong going there. Now, if you're a leading member of the party and you get to that particular, you get a platform to be able to speak as well. So I don't honestly, to be honest, it's more politics.
What should be? You should
I don't honestly see.
Was that the thank you tour? Was it part of the recommendations in the Okwe report?
No. The thank you tour had been planned ahead of the report.
I told you that as a campaign, I was an integral part of the campaign. As a campaign, we had slated a time frame to go around the country to do a thank you tour as a campaign.
Right.
And then, because Dr. Bawumia is an individual that actually respects the party and the structures and all that it is, once the party had come out with communication that there was going to be a committee that was also going to go around the country, the campaign now decided that then we would have to shelve that and allow so that we do not go and interfere before the party was doing or had commissioned. Now that the party had now finished and taken the report to National Council, and the recommendation was that, okay, right after National Council, then you can actually go out and do that. The party now takes responsibility to organize the thank you tour with the key protagonists. So this whole idea of somebody getting and that's why I'm saying that even people are even running ahead of themselves too much. In the last elections that we had, internal elections that we had, in 2022 or so or something. I think the attrition rate was about 60% of constituency executives and regional executives and police stations. This time around, especially when you have gone into an election and lost, I'm sure the attrition rate will be like 80%. Right? So even this whole if you are interested in being a flag bearer or an executive or whatever, this is a time to go to the ground and organize. So if people come into a hall and they receive an interrogatory that has come from national executive and a flag bearer and presidential aspirants and all that, I don't really see why people are getting so excited about it.
You see, I would have sided with or agree with Eric when he said political parties, actors within a political party are not zombies. That all of us are supposed to do one line, think the same way, do things the same way. We are individual humans have come together. We have our own experiences and our own understanding of issues and the way we that things are done. But in the case of Alhaji Bawumia, the then flag bearer, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, made the whole country to understand that when it comes to issues of economy, he doesn't have the capacity. The one with the magic wand is Alhaji Bawumia.
The economic messiah.
The messiah. So he brought him in for a specific purpose. And anytime they achieved any success, they were quick to say, this is Bawumia's ideas. Bawumia's in charge. By any time the thing went wrong, no, it is not Bawumia. It's Ken Ofori-Atta. I don't think that's correct. Anytime they achieve something, digitalization, whatever, Bawumia brought it. This, Bawumia brought it. But when the thing doesn't go well, no, it is not Bawumia.
But did you notice an actual shift from economy to digitalization?
Why did it shift? We were told the man is an economic messiah. We were told the reason they brought him is because he worked at the Bank of Ghana before. We were told, he said, there's money in the country.
Sikano.
He said, we don't even need to go and take loans to build our roads. All we need to do was to just tow the roads. We have all the recordings. We haven't forgotten. Just a few years ago. And so don't come back on this platform. And suddenly, I understand Eric. What else can I do if I were in his shoes? You know, the gentle, nice boy that he has always been. You know, this is not an issue. Objective. You know, people should stop running ahead of themselves. It's a major issue. See, what happens between now and December will define what your party become like.
You see, Fred.
Don't digest.
It's okay. But it's a conversation. No. Why are you making this?
I sat here quiet.
Yes, I'm not.
Eric, allow him. Allow him.
Tell him it's Kevin Meming.
Eric, from where we are now, really, if I were in your shoes, I'll just keep quiet and listen. Take us that we are consultants. Okay. We are professing solutions. There are things you cannot say. I know. Things are eating you up. Some of the persons who are talking, they are irritating you.
Exactly, yes.
I see, you don't need to put yourself in that situation.
Yes.
Allow them. Myself. You see, there are things that they also went through that maybe you are not privy to. You are not privy to. People like Ajaku, we all know Ajaku's interest and love for MPP all these many years. Is that not true? His involvement in MPP. What to make a man like that to take a back seat and start throwing a few jabs here and there? Do you understand? There are things that we all go through.
Maybe he's bitter because he was sacked as energy minister.
No, but of course, that issue we can discuss one day. And let's face the fact of issue. It was only sacrifice. What did he do wrong? What did he do wrong?
No, he did some things wrong.
Oh.
It was a Ameri
agreement.
But I mean, that is a debate.
That's an issue.
That's a debate for another day.
We all know the Ameri issue. You, the president came and said the Ameri deal was a bad deal. Blah, blah, you criticize President Mahama and all that. When you came, you set up a team led by Addison to go to Dubai and go and
discussing.
You see, that's what we do. Open the
We'll move on.
I think we should move on. This is
so the point I want to make in conclusion is that MPP, they are major stakeholders in our democracy.
Definitely.
And I can never wish them ill. I don't wish that the party collapse or anything it is. They should try to organize themselves, put themselves together. People like Abronye and the rest should be reigning a bit. It's not every time that you have to show, say, me your Bema.
No, he's a regional chairman.
No, but what is your scorecard? You will check your scorecard. Your regional chairman, you want only one seat in the whole region. Why are you shouting and screaming and talking?
Wuntumi is still talking.
You understand? Oh, no. Yeah, so people like that, see, I'm telling you, when Dr. Bawumia himself says that arrogance of power also contrary to their defeat, people like that were at the forefront of it. Some of the things that they said, to me, the things he said, the way he went about everything.
But Kennedy Japan, to some of the things Kennedy Japan said, Bawumia made reference to that without mentioning the commentary against one another.
You understand? So for
finding, especially in NDC's.
So let me just conclude by saying that the thank you to is not a novelty. It's not new. We all do it. If you're at the constituency level after elections, you go right and do it. But don't use that platform to fight. When you go and sit before your party faithfuls, and then you are virtually throwing blows and throwing jabs at each other, it's not proper. It's not proper. You must show leadership. Bawumia must show leadership.
Thank you, Fred. Like the video you've been asking for. Yeah. That's the video. Let's take a look.
You don't want to show that video. You can't.
Arrogance. And the dear Durubabia Yadri. Raging ha, Moo Sammy 2 me 9 quite single constituency. I quite catch you, be say. Yantuaba, my candidate, remove ye. More Menamotina Damukra, the Monsami flow, be said to Abba, my particular candidate. But the Binum Dimidi call ye campaign, ye, no. Omurie ye no ma konkran. Abronye no na agi Bawumia campaign ayere. Ba no kura ne se omo ba mo ho campaign omo se Abronye ne soma mo. Omo se Abronye ne soma se ye meye campaign ko meboa. Eye se mo di ho adanse ye se ma miema no amfro obia. Sa nkrofo no so omo ye sa di medin ba ayere. E kina omo beba mo ho. But this time no omo ye ma mebuafu. Na mom mo bi nkodi obi atem ukodi do obi atem wie na so wie a wo se yankoye a unity I mean say unity no eye ayi mo ana mo kreti Professor Makwe report o se ye kwa abato a ensema ye ka no eno na na no andisi fo ye re eyusutie na mo wo ya propaganda na obi be yi ano dia entena social media say who didn't panatem na wie a wa bakasa memfa wadamfo. Media, I'm telling you the truth. Obia onye Berman Chobia. But party nti eni pebi to make kasa to say omo member. Omo nye member. A back contributions here in Zika omo to me be mo kosesere. And they talk as if the whole world is for them. It's not for them. And yet a kruya. Like some of them cannot even speak the way they speak. Because bam fi ekura wo fari. Ebi wo ya talk as ma omo. You see, your penokura, Mumianka, I will not respect you, but may respond to anybody. Unless I can show down. Mumianka, I will not respect you, but may respond to anybody. Unless I can show down.
Right, so you had wanted this video. We've played it. Yeah. We'll put the matter to rest.
You have not put the matter to rest.
Eric, had you seen this?
Eric, have you seen this?
I haven't seen, but I don't see anything
wrong with it.
Wrong with this video.
Thank you so much.
Let me say.
Is that objective?
Listen, Fred, you were saying that if there's something that is supposed to be dirty, they should express it. They should express it.
No, I said so.
And these guys, Larry, right? These guys are expressing that. We've gone into an election. We lost an election. You see, sometimes, you know, when I'm having a conversation with Larry, it's different. When I'm having a conversation with Fred, it's a totally different, because it's a purely political thing.
Yeah.
Remember when the NDC were doing their presidential primaries, right? And the likes of Professor Alabi and Kwabena Dufo and Co. The kind of stuff that they said about President Mahama. He still became the flag bearer. And he's won an election as president again today. You understand? So sometimes, you see, when I don't take moral lessons from people like Fred. You know what I'm saying?
Who runs a brothel?
A brothel. You know what I didn't want to say that. You know, I don't take moral lessons from Fred, right? And like me and Fred, we have gone way back. Right. You see, the thing is, it looks like me and him, we've had the same path. Because by now, his appointment should have come.
Yeah.
Oh. You understand? Because it's true. Because
are you eyeing something? Are you eyeing something?
This guy.
We are not discussing. We are discussing
that. His appointment would have.
That is not a subject matter.
Was the platform good for such things?
Yes.
We need to watch our
That's what I'm saying. That yes, I mean
it
is really not my style. It is not necessarily something that I would, for example, countenance. But it is not. It's not fatal. It's nothing. It will be sorted, right? But we've seen more, like a bit more passionate, conversation. And people have. This is the first ever.
Let's proceed.
Even at the top.
The first ever. I don't want to mention the area because they will get upset with it. The first ever meeting that I went to, I nearly quit. I'm like, what is going on here? Yeah. And this is an internal party meeting.
After the defeat.
No. This is like the very first, somewhere like maybe 2007, 2006 that I went into. Yeah. Like, it's supposed to be a branch meeting.
Yeah.
Right?
And it was heated.
And I couldn't believe it. You know what I'm saying? So these things, I mean, are there.
Yes, but
what
the issue here is these things should be behind closed
what you
doors,
need
not
is a
out
certain,
there.
is a certain level of, if you like, emotional intelligence to understand that whatever it is that you do. I mean, even the same people, they're saying the same things in different languages.
Yeah.
When you go there and you articulate, even like the two persons who stood up and spoke.
Yeah.
Right? If you're going by standards, there are certain things that both of them have said that they themselves have come back to retract, or things that they have said that they know that they will not say again.
Right.
Even Honorable Kennedy himself, in the last few weeks or so, has gone on to say that there are certain things that he felt that he did, or he said that it wasn't right, and that he has actually departed from that. So
Very well.
I don't see, to be honest with you, I don't see what the major
No, you wanted
deal
that. No,
is.
you played a video. Yeah, let me make some few observations.
30 seconds.
Yeah, I will. No problem.
30 seconds.
So, Abronye talked about how the Michael Quay report, had
Highlighted,
exactly,
yeah.
captured things that people said
during the party's
during the
primaries.
party's primaries that found expression in NDC's campaign.
Yeah.
And to him, that was wrong. And he also said that people were accusing him of, supporting somebody against the other person. Ken then now mounts the platform and says that, listen, Enya Semanka, I mean, we can't be on the same platform, literally.
We are not co-equals.
Yeah, we are not co-equals. Okay. Obami fie kra ufere. You get it. A man for a talk cast mom. Meaning, Charlie, you are nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, and that somebody has to be supporting you financially, or including
So the issue actually is...
The issue actually is...
Why I don't want him to say that?
Well, I need to take a break now. I mean, we've all heard what was said in the video. So,
no, but you see, yeah, we've heard it. But the inferences is what is key, okay? To a point where, I mean, the bitterness is there.
Yeah.
That people feel that, listen, let's deal with this thing here on. And I'll say, listen, there would have been a showdown.
The party is reorganizing.
If the floor is
I am
open.
sure they will deal with some of these things internally, and then they'll come out with... We are hoping that there will be an executive summary of that report that will be issued so that we can all see.
You are always hoping.
You don't want to see what's in the report?
Me, I want the full report. I don't want to.
This is Breakfast Daily here on Channel One Television. Stay with us. We'll be right back, and then we can continue the conversation. Thank you for staying with us. If you just joined us, the channel is Channel One TV. The program is Breakfast Daily. The segment is News Review. Larry, you wanted to wrap up on the NPP briefly because we need to make progress.
You see, I think that the NPP will have to face its ghost. Okay, either beg the ghost, or run. But this thing where they are trying to, the ghost doesn't exist. If they don't take care, it's going to kill them. Okay, Graves is on his own, virtually attacking Dr. Bawumia.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a guy who used to appear on TV, including your station, talking, eloquently about Dr. Bawumia.
All he's asking for is for Dr. Bawumia to take responsibility because he was part of the system.
Oh, no, but he said he used some other adjectives and so on. Maybe he felt that, Dr. Bawumia was attacking his cousins, as in President Akufo-Addo, Ken Ofori-Atta, and the rest and so on. You see, they might have contracted him to talk. I'm using my word advisedly. They might have, contracted him to talk, but I don't think he's better place to do the kind of PR he's trying to do.
Very well.
I mean, let's face it.
Very well.
For Abronye and Kennedy Japan, we all know.
Larry, stop disturbing my paragraph.
We all know. We all know about how Abronye's region was the only region that Kennedy Japan won during the primaries. Okay. I mean, he might have done some work.
He won a voter agent of children.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Abronye might have done some work for him. But you recall when he said that, when Kennedy said that there would have been a showdown, Abronye's was Oside.
Listen, for me, so this thing gets a bit more upsetting. I was actually quite upset that Nana Kumia, who is my mentor, actually responded to someone like Grave. To be honest with you. Because where did this Grave boy come from?
No.
No, where did he come from?
No.
I mean,
he's not here.
the things that but where did he come from?
He's not
when
here.
When we were in the trenches, you see, that is what is upsetting.
He's not here. He's not here.
That is what is upsetting. When we were in the trenches, where was he?
He's not here to respond to
that's what I'm saying.
So
where did he come from? That he has audacity and effrontery to say these things. Yes, it is Eric.
Hold on. Hold on.
It is Eric because you see, we've gotten to that point where we have to say it as it is.
Tone down for me.
He's actually sad that Nana Kumia responded. We should have allowed some of us to respond to him.
It's fine. It's fine.
You understand what I'm saying? Because you see, because where did he come from?
Let's leave this matter.
Right, because it's symptomatic of some of the things. And it's not everything that we can say on national.
If he were here, then fine.
Yeah, but I would debate him one-on-one. And I would want to ask him where he had come from and what is his motto.
He's not. So let's leave it.
I don't even know if he has a party card. I just saw him like 2-3 years ago after he won.
Let's leave it. Let's get into other matters. The OSP is in court.
I don't care.
The OSP is in court.
That should be questioning
Fred, leave it be. You see, you are stuck in the thing.
Bawumia's contribution.
We are not doing this. We are not doing this. We are not doing this.
But you give me an opportunity.
Eric, we are not doing this. We are not doing this.
Bawumia's contribution.
No. Eric. Let's move on. Fred, leave it. Fred, leave it. Leave it be. Leave it be. Leave it be. Fred, don't do this. Fred,
talk about Dr. Padgrave like that.
Honorable, don't do this. Don't do this. Listen, hold on.
You can't question it.
Eric,
your
mic is off.
And if he wants to debate, I'll debate him.
Your mic is off.
Fred,
your mic is off. Your mic is off.
JB Dankwa.
And who do you think?
Fred, no, it's okay. That's fine. The OSP is in court. He's taking on Charles Bisu, former secretary of the defunct IMCIM, the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining. Now, he says that some bribery had gone on. My issue or my question to you, gentlemen, is why all this while? Fred, if you start. I mean, we know that we are fighting illegal mining. These are some of the issues that need to be dealt with.
Can we discuss it generally with the demonstration that took place yesterday?
Very well. We can rope it in.
I want to focus my attention in the area. First of all, let me commend the demonstrators who went on the street yesterday, calling government's attention to this whole Galamsey issue. Let me also thank the security service, the police in particular. I drove past there at the time that it was going on. You know, it was very orderly and all that. This morning, I've not seen anything in the papers suggesting that there were any beatings or any more handling of anybody. It went very orderly. We are in a democracy, and so Ghanaians should be given the opportunity to express themselves when they are not too sure of what is happening. The good news is that government is not sleeping at all about this Galamsey issue. We are doing everything humanly possible to make sure that we need this thing in the bud. The concern people have raised has to do with the law that is allowing people to mine in the forest reserves. We have listened to the cry by the civil society organization. The president has taken a decision that as soon as Parliament returns, we are going to make sure that that particular law is repealed. We are going to do that. The sector minister has put a lot of measures in place. If you have watched what I've been doing in the past on television, there's so much that is going on to make sure that we control largely this Galamsey menace. It is something that poses a threat to all of us, you know. And so we cannot look on and allow it to continue forever and ever. The president has shown commitment. I have said there is no group of people that can be powerful than the power of the states. Right. The only time the state looks as though they don't have power is when the will to do it is not there. But once the state is determined, the president is determined that I want to craft the whip, there's nobody that can, you know, rub shoulders with what the president wants to do. And that is the commitment I've seen so far. We have served notice that don't say because you're an NDC person, you can go and enter into the forest, you can enter into the water bodies and start doing illegal things in the name of being a party member. You know, as for the speaker has said it, that any member of parliament that is heard or seen to be involved in this whole issue, the person will be dealt with and make sure that he even loses his seat in parliament. And so we still want to admonish our colleagues, our brothers and friends, but I cannot sit on this platform and say that there are no known NDC people who are involved in some of these things. No, I can't say that. I know some of them are involved. And where we are now, we are not going to look at anybody's political affiliation or anybody's political coloration. Once you are involved in the wrong thing, the law will deal with you. And so once again, I want to commend the security service organizers, the special prosecutor and Charles Bisu. You asked a question that is very, very important. That incident occurred how many years ago? When that video emerged, Charles Bisu's video emerged and all that.
The one who shot at the
That is from somewhere 2019.
Okay. 2019, thereabout. OSP has been in existence for only God knows how long. So how do you wait up until now before we are heading to court that we are going to prosecute him. So people now come back and say that it's a political witch hunting, or it's because NDC has come to power, now they're going to pay. We don't do things like that. And that is why this country, we are not achieving results. State institutions are supposed to be up and doing, regardless of which political party is in power. If Abronye has committed a crime, I've done something wrong, if my party is in power, take me through due process of the law. Let me go and face it in court. But this thing occurred 2019, 2020, thereabout. We have looked on. Charles Bishop had even gone to contest elections to become, he wanted to become an NP for one of the constituencies in Takoradi area there. And then now suddenly you're heading to court. Is it a case that when the NP was in power, they would not allow the Special Prosecutor to go to court over an issue like this? Is it a case that he was so scared he would not get the outcome he was looking for in court? That's why he didn't go. Well, the good news is that we promised before we came to office that we are coming to reset Ghana. We believe that almost every sector of our society is simply not in good position. And so we are resetting. We are resetting. We are trying to clear away all persons that we think that their contribution activities are not helping this country to move on. We want to bring integrity back, especially in the judiciary, that people can have confidence and go there and believe that when they go there, they'll get justice. And so whatever it takes, that we set this country on that path where both Ghanaians and foreigners can have confidence in our judiciary system. We'll try and do this as a party. And the president is very committed to doing that.
Very well.
Charles Bishop should go and face his case in court. Like I said, I don't know why we have waited for all this time, but as I said, there's no expiry date on crime. He's a friend. I know him very well. I don't wish him to be at this position at this time. But that is the cross we have to bear. All of us in public space must always remind ourselves that there's always a day for accountability when you be called upon to come and account for your stewardship. And that is why everything that we are doing, we should think about tomorrow.
Right.
That, hey, when that day comes and you are invited, you'll be able to stand with your shoulders high. Otherwise, you run into trouble.
Right.
So we wish him well. We wish him well in court.
Thank you, Fred. Larry, OSP versus Charles Bishop.
Yeah, I mean, due process is what we ask for. You understand? If it's falling foul of the law, I mean, let the courts decide. And as Fred said, it's taking too long a time to get to this point. And but we shouldn't have to wait for people to what should I say?
We're changing administration.
Yes, you get it. I mean, for me, even the change in administration, listen, I mean, state institutions must be seen to be very proactive, quick, do that. I mean, go. This thing where the police is telling us that it takes forever to investigate a case. And then OSP, a specialized unit that has been created with certain powers that is supposed to enhance the work of, you know, other research bodies and so on. I mean, you should be proactive. You should be, you know, on the throttle. Let me know if that is the correct expression. To be seen working, but you waited all this while.
Perhaps you were still gathering
before
evidence.
Then in between this, I think there was Professor Frimpong Boateng, who at the point in time was also, you know,
invited by the
invited. His report also became subject of the OSP's investigation, where people in the Flagstaff House then, or Jubilee House, you know, were cited by Professor Frimpong Boateng and accused of being involved in the Galamsey. He mentioned individual names, okay? There was also the mention of a certain journalist who used to work with a radio station whose name I wouldn't mention, that he became like an intermediary, okay, who, when the excavators are seized, he would then walk in, collect money from these people, and then eventually the excavators are released to those people. I
make good money.
Yes, and some of the monies were paid into his private bank account.
Right.
Wow.
Okay, there is evidence to that effect. I'm not. I think that I would want to see some of these things being key in this investigation, being key in this investigation, so that it wouldn't be as though it is just, you know, the low-hanging ones that we are going for. I mean, the OSP is a specialized unit. has certain, powers, getting certain benefits, getting certain allowances and so on. If from their creation, led by Martinamido, until date, we haven't seen anything concrete. I think, yes, I think that is the reason why people keep calling for disbandment or an of that institution, and then get it back, under the normal thing.
He's asking actually for entrenchment in the constitution.
What happened to the Sile and Abba case?
Yeah, well, that's another matter. He's
So
finished
investigating a number of issues. It's just that we've not seen any conviction or whether he secured a judgment yet.
Then it's become like any other institution. Then it's like the normal situation, because there is zeal with which President Akufo-Addo, created that institution. He had made mention of it, during the campaign, the 2016 campaign and so on. But to think that under him, that institution never, didn't go anywhere, let me put it this way. For me, I'm shocked. I'm equally shocked that during his tenure, efforts were made to just throw that institution away. And by saying that, listen, we've created Ukraine, you haven't done anything, concrete, as far as the corruption is concerned. And again, corruption became one of the biggest reasons, and I hear the Okwe committee made mention of that corruption was one of the main reasons why the MPP was defeated. Okay, so we've given it so much power with a lot of expectations, but then the golden hen couldn't lay
a golden egg.
The golden egg. And something has to be done.
Sure, thank you. Eric, OSP versus Charles BCU. And there's another gentleman, a businessman, we understand, Andy Owusu, also in there.
Well, I mean, I think I want to come from Fred's angle. I mean, this whole issue stems from our fight against Galamsey and how we even got here. I mean, looking at the footage even here, would break anybody's heart. I mean, during the campaign, when this particular place, I think the Manso, Edubia area and all of that. I mean, it is terrible. It's just like it's heartbreaking to the point where it's actually taking over the community.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And in my own village where I come from, we have pockets of that where even the last couple of months or so,
what's the name of the village?
Abonye.
Okay.
Yeah, Fantiako South.
Eastern region.
Where
it's an Achim area?
Yes, where 2 kids actually drowned in one of an open pit, and then it had to take the new Eastern Regional Minister to go there and all of that. And it's heartbreaking. Plus all the attendant challenges that comes with the degradation of the environment, our water bodies,
Pollution of our water
the
bodies,
pollution,
destruction of our forests.
all of these things are attendant issues, and there are bigger conversations. Seeking prosecution of Charles BCU is within the remit of the OSP. But then, in the bigger scheme of things, I mean, I think that we have to be a bit more serious with this whole conversation around Galamsey. I've seen a new group, I think led by Oketechie and a couple of other people who are pushing that angle. In the previous administration, you had a whole group of people. Now, you know how these things work. And that's why sometimes the politics becomes very, if like, unprincipled. So the group, there were people who were agitating and were very vociferous and very advocating for all of these things. All of a sudden, they are nowhere to be found, and a new group has been formed. When these things happen, it actually questions the legitimacy of these groups, and then also even the real
motive,
intentions, and the
But
motive.
the new groups didn't participate in the older groups.
I agree. No, I agree. But I agree. And for me,
those are
and that's what
that's what I'm saying. For me, if
Yeah.
you are serious as a country and you really want to get to this thing, then this fair weather, almost convenient advocacy and politics and all of that is something that should be eschewed. I'll tell you something. Right? You remember, I used to be a policy analyst when we were in opposition the previous time. And I was representing the party at the IEA. And I think that even your national chairman and a couple other people from the NDC were also there on that platform. And you know what we used to discuss? We used to discuss winner takes all in Ghanaian politics and everything. And the interesting thing is that once the party comes into office, the conversations around the winner takes all, and even issues to do with governance and
Bishop Pamabako who was accused of that. Anytime MPP is in office, in opposition, he talks about winner takes all. But when MPP is in office,
and so if just so that I'm not digressing, if we are not careful, what happens is that even if you're in government, you don't take these groups seriously because at the back of your mind, it's just a pure political thing. But when it comes to issues to do with advocacy, issues to do with corruption, I mean, Charles Bisu is my very good friend. We come from the same ilk. I mean, I've known Charles for a very long time. If he gets into some kind of border, I mean, it would hurt me. But it's a process. It's democracy. I mean, he has to go through the process. But for me, I think that it's also not very fair that this thing is taking such a long time. Whereby it's like back and forth. I mean, there's back and forth between the OSP and Charles Bisu.
Yeah, they've been to court.
They've been to court a few times and everything. And then issues to do with prosecution, for example, that if you set up an institution that is supposed to be solely responsible for ensuring that corruption cases are prosecuted, and as we speak, I mean, this is the 8th year or 9th year, and there hasn't been any thing of that sort. If it was any other entity, any other enterprise, it would probably call it like a failure or it's not lived up to expectations. But if there are genuine, if you like, challenges, there are issues that the OSP itself is facing and all that, we should appreciate that. Then again, we can't also pick and choose certain aspects of a democracy that we want to govern. Because the person that is accused has fundamental rights. And I think that because of some of the politics that we do as well, the mere fact that somebody is accused or there's an allegation means that the person is guilty. And so people become frustrated when there are no prosecutions or there are no convictions, but that's how democracy works. You know what I'm saying? So if you accuse, otherwise, it's better for, if you go to a legal class, they'll tell you that it's better for 100 guilty people to go free than an innocent man to be prosecuted, because that's the essence. The essence of the law is to protect innocent people, right? So we can get, in one breath, we can get frustrated that people have not been prosecuted, there are no convictions and all that. But once you make an allegation or something comes up, it does not automatically make that a person is, or even if you go through a legal process. I mean, case in point, NDC comes into government. Even cases that have gone through a court process. In the wisdom of the current Attorney General, he decides to go to court and file what? Nolli proscribe. It's still democracy. You can have issues with, I have fundamental challenges with that. That in the same breath, you are now saying that you're fighting corruption. You have issues with a process that were taken using the same legal process. And you are taking these people off, and yet you are prosecuting new people. Do you understand what I'm saying? But the lawyers, I'm not a lawyer, but the lawyers will tell you that.
Do you recall Richard Anani was on trial? I think Kojo Impien was also on trial. And many of Kufuor's appointees then were on trial. Now, when Akufo-Addo took over, I mean, I think that
but those cases came to but those cases came to the logical conclusion.
They didn't.
Yes, they do.
Which of them?
Reku Brobe, Oseye J, or Richard Anani, they went through the court processes and an NDC administration, including what's his name, Asabi and Co. Under an NDC administration, and nobody.
No, the trial was truncated.
It wasn't. It wasn't truncated. Kojo Piani's trial was not truncated. But you can check. But that's what I'm saying, that it's all democracy. Right, but then whilst you're doing this, I think that all of these conversations, especially for us politicians, should be anchored in values and principle. That's it. For Charles Bisu, I'm sure he will have his day in court. He would find ways of actually absolving himself. and the OSP has a job to do.
Yeah, but Barry, let me just add something related to this issue. You know, we have tried several means and approaches to fighting this corruption menace. This Galamsey menace. Maybe one of the things we have not paid particular attention to, which all of us agree to, is that the people who really are benefiting from this Galamsey thing, the big people behind it, they live in Accra, they live in Kumasi, they are never on the field.
Afraid.
Up until we look for these people, we feed them out.
Yeah.
We confiscate their assets. We freeze their accounts. When they feel the pain, I'm sure this will come down. Because those boys, just before I land, those boys,
the people who do cocaine, do we find them?
We can find them.
The barrels, we don't find them.
Where we are now, as a nation, we want to find them. Because really, the young boy that sometimes we go and arrest in the village, who is only seeking survivor. You and I know he cannot even buy maybe a motorbike, let alone this heavy, what they call them? Excavators and stuff like that. Look at the cost of buying one excavator. And yet, the boys, we often parade, throw them in cells. As if we know the root cause of the problem, right? But for whatever reason, we prefer to dance around the periphery and pretend as though we don't know what is going on.
Because the mafia involved is not just the people who are doing the Galamsey. So for example, they use excavators. Who brings the excavators into this country? There's somebody who brings these excavators. There's one individual who brings probably 60-70% of the excavators in this country.
It's somebody's business.
It's somebody's business. Now, if you go into a Galamsey community, the woman who is selling wache has 500 people.
There's a whole economy
There's a
around
whole economy. I know. Now, if you want to deal with Galamsey, for example, that should start at the Tema port and Takrady port. It costs you $50, $100 to put a tracker on every excavator. And so all the monies that we spend on trying to fight Galamsey, putting, what do you call it? River guards, this and all of those things, is just a function of being committed politically and activating technology. If you put a tracker on an excavator, and it goes into an environment that's not supposed to be, it's demobilized. I mean, so, you know,
we can solve it.
We can solve it.
That is a
right?
fact,
And for me, I've heard people, I've even heard, I mean, I've heard the new minister saying all sorts of things and everything, and nobody is talking about the technology. You understand? Somebody is bringing this.
The minister has actually said that they'll track the owners using the
but the point is that if you
even the DVL
so that if the DVL takes up that.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. We'll have to leave it here. We're actually in there at 55. So unfortunately, we've run out of time. But thank you so much.
Let me just thank President Mahama fulfilling his promise, fulfilling his promise of creating more jobs and entrepreneurs.
Appointment has taken too long.
The Jumawa was launched beautifully in Kumasi yesterday.
Thank you.
I encourage the young people to go on the website, go start a new business. It is pure water you want to do, it is poultry you want to do, it is bread, baked, whatever you want to do.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, gentlemen. It's been great. We'll find time, another opportunity to have more and, of course, in-depth conversations. This has been the News Review segment here on Breakfast Daily, which is live on ChannelOne TV. I am Nana Tufo Boateng. Many thanks for your time. But stay with us. There's more on the show.